Welcome to WeLearn, Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 13, India's Foreign Trades. Topics which we are going to cover in this session are Introduction, Importance of Foreign Trade, Trends in India's Foreign Trade, Composition of Foreign Trade, Direction of Foreign Trade, Regulation of Foreign Trade, Export Promotion Measures. Coming towards the first topic, that is Introduction. Foreign trade has been considered as an engine of economic growth. Diversification of resources stimulate a country for the foreign trade. The resources of the world may be utilized efficiently through the foreign trade. The recent phenomenon of globalization and liberalization also encourage the foreign trade. Next topic is Importance of Foreign Trade. The importance of foreign trade are greater availability of goods, better use of country's resources, reduction in cost of production, stability of prices, greater employment opportunity, high rate of economic development, contribution to government revenues, harmonious relationship between various countries. So coming towards the greater availability of goods. Though foreign trade, it is possible for a country to obtain those goods which it cannot produce or cannot produce as cheaply as other countries do. Thus, a country's well-being is determined by the extent to which it participates in foreign trade. Consumers benefit from foreign trade as much as they can purchase from the cheapest source. Our country, that is India, depends upon the foreign countries for substantial portion of her supplies of petroleum products and capital goods. The second point is better use of country's resources. Foreign trade help in the utilization of country's resources in the best possible manner. In many cases, we have read that domestic industries depend upon foreign markets for the disposal of their production. For example, the jute and tea industries of India merely depends upon the export markets. Next point is reduction in cost of production. As capital goods and raw materials are purchased from cheapest source, the all-over cost of production goes down, leading to the lower prices. Next point is stability of prices. Whenever the prices of some commodity tends to increase in a country, it can increase the level of its import of the commodity to check the rise in prices. Similarly, whenever the price of the commodity falls due to glut in its supply, the trend may be checked by exporting the same time. Next point is greater employment opportunity. Foreign trade led to an increase in domestic, agricultural and industrial production, which in turn generates more employment in the country. Sixth point is high rate of economic development. Foreign trade led to rapid economic development and higher rate of growth in national income. In fact, foreign trade was considered as an engine of growth. Seventh point is contribution to government revenues. Most government impose duties on import and sometimes on exports too. The duty generate substantial revenue for the state exchequer. For example, in Indian custom duties contributed 33.6% of the total tax revenue in 1996 and 97. The last point is harmonic relationship between various countries. Foreign trade is a major force in linking various countries to each other. It promotes harmonious and cordial relationship between all of them. It can lead to world economic integration. This in turn leads to political peace and greater cooperation among countries regarding social cultural development. Next topic is trends in foreign trades. Indians foreign trade. A reduction in trade deficit is possible either by a reduction in imports or by an increase in exports. A reduction is not only necessary to curtail the trade deficit, but also because quite often imported supplies are costlier than domestic supplies. In the past, we depend upon foreign aid, largely consisting of loans to finance our import supply surplus. Thus, there is no alternative but to intensify export efforts. The expansion in export sector will be able to generate the revenue for meeting the import requirements. Next topic is composition of foreign trade. Under this, we will study composition of exports as well as composition of imports. So coming towards the composition of exports, there are agricultural products, textile, fabrics and manufactures, leather and leather manufacturers, gems and jewelry, chemical and allied products, machinery, transport and metal manufacture, mineral, fuel and lubricants. So let us first understand what is exactly the composition of exports. India's export was largely agro-based during 1950. Three principal tradition items are textile, jute manufacturers and tea accounted for nearly 54% of country's export. The contribution of all primary and traditional items was about 85% of the total export. During this period, emphasis was given on the attainment of self-sufficiency and there was strict restrictions on imports. The need of industrialization was felt badly. Capital goods and technologies were needed for the industrialization. The country was not having modern technology, capital goods and raw materials for the fast development requirement. Hence, it was further realized that only increased imports of technology, machinery and essential raw materials could provide the foundations for the industrial base. This would also generate export product for the world market. Now coming towards the major products which are imported from India are agricultural products. The share of agricultural product was 44.2% in the year 1960 or 61. The share of export was so high because of high concentration of export of primary commodities. It came down to 36% in 1970-71 and 30.7% in 1980-81. It has further come down to 19.4% in 1990-91. The trust of export of manufactured item and more value addition in the agricultural products led to declines share of agricultural commodities to the total product. Now coming towards the textiles, fabrics and manufacturers. Textile, fabrics and manufacturers account for 23.4% of the total export for the year 1996 and 97. The share of export of textile fabric and manufacture was only 11.4% in 1960-61 and 10.7% in 1970-71. The share of export started gradually increasing during 80s and 90s. The scheme of export promotion of capital helped in modernization in textile sector. Favorable export environment and government policy led to the surge in export during 90s. The export has been steadily increasing since 1991. Coming towards the leather and leather manufacture, it accounts for 4.7% of total export for the year 96-97. The share of leather and its manufacture was only 4.4% of the total export of the year 1960-61. It gradually increases to 8% in the year 1990-91. It has gone down by 8% in 1991 to 4.7% in 1997. It has been adversely affected due to objections by industrial countries against the chemical used. Now coming towards the gems and jewelry, it accounts for 14.2% of the total export of the country for the year 96-97. There have been large fluctuations in the cost of raw material in the international market. The demand has also been reduced considerably as the recession in the world market. India is having a large number of skilled professionals for manufacturing of gems and jewelries. The industry requires further modernization to complete the growing age in the world market. Next, coming towards the composition of imports. The policy of import substitution was adopted to give boost to the domestic industry. The second plan gave a new thrust to the process of plant development with emphasis on the capital intensive investment. The country was not in position to produce the required capital goods needed for the developmental purpose. The need for import of capital goods was felt at the junction. It is gradually realized that increased import of technology, machinery and essential raw material would be able to enhance the industrialization process of the country. Proper production facilities will certainly provide room for export business. Therefore, liberal import of capital goods, technologies and raw material are required to boost the export of the country. The major products which are imported to India are petroleum, oil and lubrication, capital goods, chemical elements and compounds, pearls, precious and semi-precious stones, iron and steel, fertilizers and fertilizers made. Next topic is direction of foreign trade. Coming towards the direction of exports. In the table, we can see that during the year 1960-61, the major export partners were UK, followed by USA, then Japan, Russia, Germany and France. They accounted for 57.4% approximately of our total exports. Gradually, the export percentage is decreasing, and in the year 1996-97, the UK contribution is 6.1%, USA contribution is 19.8%, that is higher than the previous one. Germany's 5.6, Netherlands 2.5 and France 2.2. So their contribution is expressed in the chart. Now coming towards the direction of import. The table shows India's import from major destinations. During the year 1960-61, India's major import partner was USA 29.2%, followed by UK 19.4%, Germany 10.9%, Japan 5.4%, Iran 2.6%, France 1.9%, Belgium and Russia 1.4% each, and Saudi Arabia 1.3%. The scenario has changed over a period of 40 years. For the year 96-97, India's major importing partner was USA 8.8%, followed by Saudi Arabia 7.3%, Germany 7.2%, Belgium 6.3%, Kuwait 6.2%, Japan 5.7%, UK 5.4%, Iran 2.3% and Russia 1.6%. The increasing quantity and amount of import of petroleum products has made Saudi Arabia and Kuwait second and the fifth largest import partners of India. Next is the regulation of foreign trade. The objective of India's trade policy have been to promote export and restrict the import to the level of foreign exchange available to the country. Government continuously make efforts to promote export. These are certain items which are vital to the economy. Hence, control is exercised over these items so that there should not be scarcity of these items in the country. The country imports the commodities either to meet domestic demand or to manufacture the commodity of export market. The developing country in general for export market, the developing country face the problem of acute shortage of industrial raw material, capital goods and technology. The import of these commodities are essential for the developmental purpose, but they cost the scarce foreign exchange of the country. Therefore, the import regulation is required for proper import management. The main acts regarding the regulation of foreign trades are Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act 1992, Foreign Exchange Management Act, Export Quality Control and Inspection Act 1963, and last is the Custom Act 1962. Coming towards the last topic, that is export promotion measures. The facilities which are provided for creation of production base are export promotion capital goods, that is EPCG scheme. Next is export processing zone EPZs, and last is duty free license. Next are the facilities by creating special status. So the facilities which are provided are export houses, trading houses, star trading houses and superstar trading houses. The last is fiscal incentives. The fiscal incentives are duty drawback, central excise rebate, and last is income tax exemption. Now there are following questions which are based on this session. These are: write the name of 3 major commodities imported to India. Next is write the names of 5 major products exported from India? And last is, what do you mean by duty drawback? So these are the questions which are based on this session. Happy learning, be learning.